Hey y'all, today I am back in Chicago in my dark and dingy garage, and I'm driving an all-electric Mini Countryman. And so, of course, what I would like to do is go drive 200 miles. Yeah, that's always what I want to do in an electric vehicle that doesn't have more than 300 miles of range. But I digress. According to the trip computer, when I'm at 100%, I have about 220 miles of all-electric range. I'm at about 99% right now. So we're just going to drive to Indianapolis and we're going to see if we can make it without charging. To refresh your memory, it's 196 miles from this spot right here to my parents' front door. So, yeah, I would like you to make a guess. Do you think I can make it without stopping to charge? Go ahead, comment below. You got it? You got it in your head? All right. My name is Jill Ciminillo. Let's take a road trip right now. Okay, I've stepped behind the wheel of the Mini Cooper, and I just wanted to point out that this does not have a native navigation system, apparently, and it needs me to connect to Apple CarPlay to be able to show the map. Usually I depend on the native maps for a vehicle to tell me if I need to stop or not. So this is going to be interesting. But when I reached out to Mini and I was like, okay, how can I get the most fuel efficiency out of this? They said, okay, make sure you go into your experiences. And what you're going to want to do is you're going to want to go into your green mode. You know, that's going to be your most fuel efficient mode. And as you can see, it has bumped me up to about 223 miles of range. And yeah, you can see I am just below 100% in terms of battery. So in theory, I should be able to make it with about 30 miles of range left. When I get too close to Lafayette, if I'm not feeling good, I'm just going to stop. I mean, it's not like I'm going to have to add a lot of charge, but I'll add a little bit of charge. Yeah, so let's leave my dark and dingy garage. Okay, I just wanted to do a quick check-in. I am about 10 miles from home, and when I started, my range was at about 220, and then it went down, it went down to about 215, and then look at that. It started to go back up because it realized I am not driving like an asshole. So I'm going to be very curious because now, instead of having just 20 miles of range, of a buffer, I have about 30 miles. And look, it even just went up again. So, yeah, this is going to be very interesting on whether or not I have to stop. Again, if you haven't voted, do you think I'm going to have to stop or not? All right, I just wanted to do a mid-drive check-in because I'm about exactly halfway into my drive and I am coming up on my first opportunity to be able to charge. There's a new charging station up in Remington at exit 201 on I-65 as I am heading south, and I'm coming up on my first opportunity to charge. So this is before Lafayette. It's about 50 miles, well, not 50, but like 30 miles before Lafayette. And they have, like, I don't know if you can see this sign here, but it says on the sign that they have EV charging. And so I'm not going to do it. I am not going to do it because here's the interesting thing. I still have 159 miles of range. And so, I mean, I've used about what? So, 60 miles of range, and I have gone more than 80 miles. So I'll be honest, I've been kind to the accelerator. I've not been going the speed limit. The speed limit is 70, and I've set my cruise control at 65, but I think I can actually go faster. I think I can go faster. And so I'm going to start, I put it up to 66, so I'm going to start edging up a little bit and see what speed is comfortable. So there's my charging stations off to the right over there at that gas station. You can see a pilot up there, but I'm not doing it. So I have about 100 miles to go, and I still have 159 miles of range, so not even thinking about stopping. I'm actually thinking about speeding up. That's where I'm at that. So I'll check in again when we get to Lafayette, and we'll see if I'm feeling any better and what I've managed to get my speed up to. But yeah, 158 miles of range and 100 miles to go. I'm not stopping. I just passed Lafayette, which was my last real good option for charging before getting to Indianapolis. And I'm feeling very good about the decision. I have about 66 miles to go, and I have 132 miles of range left. So I've kind of been toying with taking my speed between 65 and 70 miles an hour. If you're familiar with the area around Lafayette kind of drops down to 65 miles an hour, and now it's going back up to 70. So I'm going to keep pace with the speed limit here on out, and I'm feeling again incredibly confident, even if I start losing range, that I am going to make it without a problem. But even with the little bits of taking my speed up, like I noticed before I started taking my speed up, I had about 63 miles of a buffer range, and and I'm at about 70 miles now of a buffer. So again, I was kind of going up and down, but I feel like I can go the speed limit, and I'm not going to really lose any of my buffer. And if I do, it's not going to be enough at this point to really make a difference. So yay me, I'm feeling pretty confident about my decision to not stop and charge. So let me give you a few brief driving impressions while we're here, while I have you on the line. And I want to say this is fairly quiet, fairly comfortable. I am hearing some tire noise creep into the cabin. Obviously you don't have I'm not really you don't have the engine noise that's kind of mitigating any of that. And I've been listening to a podcast. I don't feel like I've had to crank it up too high. I talked to my mom on the phone, and I didn't feel like I was yelling. So I do feel like it's fairly quiet in the cabin, and the seats are comfortable. So you have this nice, I think it's leatherette. I don't think this is leather. And it is pretty comfortable. TBD on when I actually exit the vehicle if I feel stiff at all. But for the most part, I'm feeling like these seats are pretty comfortable. I have a good driving position. I don't mind the center display, because you do also have like a little head-up display that pops up. So not having a gauge cluster doesn't really bother me, because everything I need is within easy eyesight. One of the things that I will point out is I've been on a tear lately about wireless chargers. I even wrote an article on Pickup Truck Plus SUV Talk website about automakers should just stop putting wireless chargers in their cars and charging you for it. They are charging you for it. Even if they say it's included, it's not included. You're paying for that somehow. So I've been on a tear about wireless chargers, and I'm going to say this wireless charger is one of the bad ones. Not that it has overheated my phone or necessarily depowered my phone, but it's just kind of holding a static charge. Now, I will say I'm using Apple CarPlay. I am listening to a podcast. I am using Waze. I'm using things, but it's just kind of keeping my battery charge at a steady state. And my phone is hot, but not overheated. I haven't gotten any kind of a message that is overheating my phone. So I've been in the car for 2 hours, and I would expect, I started in the car with my vehicle, with my phone being at about 81%. And I think the last time I looked, it was like at 79%. So it is depowering it a little bit, but I've been, I've taken it off the wireless charger a couple of times, and put it back on and things like that. So I haven't been charging steadily for 2 hours, but I would like to have a little bit more power than that. So womp womp. What else do I have to say? I like how this vehicle looks. I like the interior. I like the material on the dash. I like the seats. I like, the cute little, mini. I don't know if you can see it, but there's like a little mini logo right there. I don't know. I think that this is a well-designed vehicle. I've fit a lot of stuff in the cargo area. So I had pillows made out of my dad's button-down shirts, and I have like 7 pillows in the trunk that I'm taking to my family to share, and my luggage. I put the charging cord back there, so it fit a good amount of stuff. So, I think this is a reasonable vehicle for 4 people to take a road trip in, especially because of the quiet and the fact that I'm going to be able to go 200 miles without needing to charge. Gets a thumbs up from me. And yeah, that's about where I'm at with this. I like it. I don't like the wireless charger. Yeah. So we'll do a check-in when I get to my mom's house, and then we will also do a check-in tomorrow when I'm charging, and we'll do a couple check-ins on the way back up to Chicago. So we're not done yet. All right, here we are. We have arrived at my mom's apartment, and I still have 60 miles of range. Now, at the end, I did end up putting my speed up to about 70 miles per hour, but there was some traffic, there was some construction. So, I probably waffled between 55 miles per hour and 70 miles per hour. So I did, at one point I had up to 63 miles of buffer and ended with 60 miles of buffer. So what that tells me is I could probably go a little faster than 65, but maybe not 70 miles an hour. So we'll play with it some more on the way home, and we'll see if we can find that sweet spot. So made it, plenty of range, did not have to stop to charge. All right, I went to go charge at the Myers by my mom's house, and as you can see, I am not there. The Myers Electrify America station was shut down. So I had to go like 20 miles, not 20, 10, at least 10 miles out of my way to be able to charge, which means I'm probably going to have to stop and charge on my way home because I don't have enough time to get a full charge, probably. And, yeah, I had to drive a ways to get here, but the good news is there is nobody else at this station, which means hopefully I'll get like the full capacity of charge. Yeah, this sucks. All right, so I have plugged in the back of this empty mall parking lot, and it's saying I have 37 minutes until I get to 80%. Yeah, I'm definitely going to have to stop and charge probably on my way home because I want to be at 100% to be able to make it home. But, the good news is, charge speed keeps going up, so maybe it'll end up being less than that. I don't know. Yeah, that sucks. It sucks that the charging station close to my mom's house is no more, or at least under construction. It sucks. All right, I am back in the Nordstrom's Keystone Fashion Mall parking lot trying to charge up to 100%. I'm currently at about 73%, and it says it's going to take me until 6:52 to be able to get up to 100%. And yeah, that's like 40 minutes from now. So happy fun times. But I figured I would stop here before leaving Indianapolis and trying to get up to 100% because the charging station at Lafayette is always a crapshoot. When I looked on the app just now, it was full, which means there's probably a line. And I haven't been to the charging station in Remington yet, and so I didn't want to pass Lafayette and be like, oh crap, now I really have to charge, and then something's funky at Remington. So here I am, and yeah, here I wait. I'm really ticked off that the Myers Electrify America station near my mom is closed. Have I mentioned that before? If I haven't mentioned that before, I'm mentioning it again. It makes me unhappy. All right. Yeah. So I'll check in when I'm on the road halfway to Chicago, and then we'll do a final check-in from my dingy, dark garage when I make it home. All right. Cool. I am a little less than halfway home, and I wanted to do a check-in a little bit early. One, because I'm going to be losing my light soon, and two, because I feel like I'm losing my range a little bit faster this time around. And so I don't know, I wanted to talk about that. When I left home on my way to Indianapolis, I had a 99% charge, and I ended up that I had about 64 miles of buffer to get where I was going. Well, when I stopped charging at the Fashion Mall in Keystone at, the back of the stupid parking lot, it was the same. I had 99% of a charge, and I figured I'm not going to get more than 1 or 2 miles extra by staying here an extra 20 minutes, because at that point I'd gone down to like 10 kilowatts, and it was just really slow charging. So I'm like, okay, I'm at 99%. It's fine. And when I left the parking lot, it looked like I would have about 64 miles of a buffer. I haven't been speeding. I know I said I was going to maybe work on accelerating a little bit or increasing my speed, but I wanted to see where I settled in. So I didn't increase my speed. On 465 heading around Indianapolis, I went 55 miles an hour. Getting on 865 where the speed limit was 65 miles an hour, I went 65 miles an hour. I'm now on 65 heading north. The speed limit is 70. I'm going 65 miles an hour. And as you can tell, I'm getting past a lot. So I'm going 5 miles per hour under the speed limit. And at this point, so, I've gone about 100 miles, and it looks like I have 48 actually miles of buffer. And so I haven't encountered any traffic. I haven't had any slowdowns. So on the way down, there were some slowdowns, there's some traffic, there was construction, and I haven't really had any of that heading north. So I know once I get into the city, there's going to be construction, there's going to be slowdowns, things like that. So maybe I'll get it back. But at this stage in the game, I don't feel comfortable going any faster than 65 because of the fact that I'm losing more range more quickly this time around. So let's see, I still have about 100 miles to go, and I'm at 147 miles of range. So I'm just gonna keep coasting at 65 miles an hour, and it's just going to take me a little bit longer to get home than I thought. So yeah, I have nothing else to add in terms of driving impressions, but I don't know if I'm going uphill on the way back to Chicago and I was going downhill on the way to Indy. I have never looked at elevation, so I don't know if that's playing into it. I don't know. It doesn't look or feel like it's any windier than it was yesterday when I was driving. So I don't know what's going on, but it's just, yeah, I mean, I'll make it. I'm not worried. I'm really not worried. But I just don't feel like it can increase my speed. So there we are. All right. I'll do the final check-in after construction, after traffic, all that stuff, when I make it through the city. Yeah. All right. So here we are. We have made it back to my dark and dingy garage. And yep, I definitely lost my range then on the way to Indianapolis. So I got there with 60 miles and I got home with 45. I have no idea why. But I made it home. That should be the end of that story. All right. I didn't want to end the video with the camera facing away from me, but this is the lighting that you get in my dark and dingy garage. So I'm going to just close this out really quickly and say thank you for watching. Were you correct? Was your guess at the very beginning correct? Be honest with yourself. Comment below. But that is what I have for you in this range test of the Mini Clubman EV. Thanks for watching, and I will see you down the road.